Welcome to the deep dive. As followers of Greek media, you're already intimately familiar with the classic shows, the legendary names, and those cultural touchstones that really defined an era of television.
Right, the stuff everyone remembers.
Exactly. But today, our mission is a bit different. We are opening up a highly specific cultural time capsule, which is the Prasopa Greek Television Awards.
Yeah, this is a fascinating one.
It really is. We're pulling our source material today from a Wikipedia article detailing these specific awards, and we aren't just going to read you a list of winners.
No, that would be incredibly boring.
Right. Instead, we're going to look at the hard data, the timelines, the networks, the sweeps. We want to uncover the definitive map of what is basically the golden age of Greek television. And perhaps more importantly, we're going to examine how real-world macroeconomics can how they can step in and abruptly bring a massive engine of cultural production to a grinding halt.
Yeah, that's the real story here.
So joining me to synthesize this timeline and help us read between the lines of this data is our resident expert.
Thanks. It is really great to be here exploring this with you. And, looking at the source material, the very existence of the Prasopa Awards it's a compelling anomaly.
How so?
Well, according to the historical record, these weren't just one of, many competing trophy ceremonies. They were the only notable awards in the entire history of Greek television.
Wow. The only ones.
The only ones. Which gives us this very rigid 13-year window from 1997 to 2010.
Okay, let's unpack this, because we need to establish the origin story to understand the foundation of that 13-year window.
Right.
The awards began in 1997, but they weren't established by a television academy or a specific broadcasting network just trying to, pat itself on the back.
No, they actually originated from print media.
Exactly. They were organized by TV Ethnos, which was a magazine issued by the Greek newspaper Ethnos.
And that dynamic tells us a lot about the cultural hierarchy at the time, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, print media had the institutional weight required to say, hey, television has reached a level of artistic merit that demands a formal, prestigious ceremony.
That makes total sense. Yeah. They needed that outside validation.
And that ceremony quickly became a juggernaut. Toward the latter half of its run, the data actually notes the awards were sponsored by Win Hellas,
which is a major telecommunications company.
Right.
Which implies serious money and serious production value backing the event by that point.
It does. It shows an industry flush with cash, cross-promotional power, corporate backing, all of it. But
the timeline just hits a brick wall.
Exactly. The final awards were given in 2009. There was a broadcast recorded in 2010, but the source material is very clear about the cause of the end. And it is incredibly sobering.
Yeah, it wasn't a slow fade.
Not at all. The Prasopa Awards did not end because of declining ratings or a shift in audience tastes or, some kind of internal industry scandal. They ended because Greek television productions were severely limited due to the Greek debt crisis.
The macroeconomic reality just completely shattered the ecosystem.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the vulnerability of art to economic forces becomes very apparent here. Just imagine your favorite streaming platforms or networks. Imagine you turn on your TV tomorrow and they have suddenly ceased production entirely because of a national economic collapse.
That's terrifying to think about.
Right. The entire economic structure of the country faced an unprecedented shock. Funding for these television productions evaporated almost overnight.
Because an award show celebrating new original programming simply can't exist when the industry itself is struggling to greenlight anything new.
Exactly. It was a systemic collapse that paused an entire culture's storytelling engine.
The implications of that are staggering. It forces you to look at this 13-year block of data, not just as a list of winners, but as a finalized, sealed era.
The door closed.
The door closed. And when we look inside that 13-year room, we see a level of spectacle that is fascinating. The source data outlines exactly where these ceremonies were broadcast, and the broadcast rights were remarkably nomadic.
The movement of the broadcast rights is actually one of the strongest indicators of the event's prestige.
Yeah, they didn't just stay in one place. They started on ET1,
which was a channel within the public broadcasting network.
Right, airing there from 1997 through 2002. And ET1 also served as the final home for the awards in 2009 and 2010.
But the mid-2000s tell a completely different story.
They really do. The broadcast hopped around among the major private networks. In 2005, it landed on Mega Channel. In 2006, it moved to Alpha TV. In 2007, it was on Net. And by 2008, it jumped over to Star Channel.
What's fascinating here is the underlying competition that network hopping implies.
How do you mean?
Well, if an award show is locked to a single channel for its entire run, it often just serves as an extended promotional arm for that specific network's programming.
Like an in-house infomercial.
Exactly. But bouncing from the public sphere of ET1 into the fiercely competitive private landscape of Mega Channel, Alpha TV, and Star Channel, that means this was the premier industry event.
Every network wanted the viewership.
Every network wanted the prestige associated with hosting the biggest night in Greek media. It was a highly sought-after commodity.
Which naturally leads us to the people tasked with steering that commodity on live television, the hosts.
Yes.
The source provides a comprehensive list of the hosts, and it reads like a chronological map of television presenting styles evolving over a decade.
It really tracks the trends of the time.
In the late 90s, the solo Titan approach dominated. Rula Coromila handled the duties in 1998 and 1999.
And then Terrence Quick took over in 2000.
Right. Those are massive, singular personalities capable of holding an entire arena's attention on their own.
But as you move into the 2000s, the data shows a distinct shift in the presentation format.
We see the rise of the dynamic duos.
Yes. In 2002, Rika Vagiani and Papi Tsapanidou shared the stage.
And then, when the broadcast made that jump to Mega Channel in 2005, the network brought in Fotis Sirkolopoulos and Maria Bakotomou.
That shift likely reflects broader trends in primetime television formats of that era. The industry was moving toward banter, chemistry, co-hosting dynamics.
So the award show simply mirrored the successful formulas of the television landscape it was celebrating.
Exactly.
But then it pivoted back to pure, concentrated star power.
It did. Eleni Menegaki took on back-to-back hosting duties, first for Alpha TV in 2006, and then for Net in 2007.
Then Christina Lambiri hosted for Star Channel in 2008.
And finally, Christos Ferentinos closed out the final recorded years back on ET1.
When you look at that roster, you are looking at the defining faces of Greek television guiding the audience through their own golden age.
They were the guides, for sure. But the true focal point of the data is the creators and the shows they were actually honoring.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Oh, absolutely.
Because looking at raw data, just tables of categories, names, and years, it can sometimes obscure the actual art.
We don't have the luxury of reading the plot synopsis or watching the highlight reels from these sources.
We don't. But the data reveals patterns that are impossible to ignore. Specifically, it reveals the dynasties.
The dynasties are where the true consensus of the era becomes visible. When you map out the winners year by year, certain titles create massive gravitational pulls.
Swallowing up multiple categories simultaneously?
Yes. Let's look at the comedy categories in the mid-2000s.
Okay.
The footprint left by a series called Sto Parapente is enormous.
Enormous. The dominance of Sto Parapente is a perfect example of a show capturing the absolute zeitgeist. Let's break down the data footprint here.
Go for it.
Giorgos Kapatsidis won Best Comedy Screenplay not just once, but twice, in consecutive seasons 2005 to 2006 and 2006 to 2007.
And the show naturally won Best Comedy Series in that 2005 to 2006 block.
Wait, if one show is pulling in consecutive writing awards and the top series award, does the acting data follow suit? Does a dominant script translate to dominant performances in the eyes of the voters?
It does, and the margins are incredible. Smaragda Karidi won Best Actress twice in a row for the show.
Wow.
Efi Papatheodore mirrored that achievement, winning Best Supporting Actress twice in a row.
And the men.
Giorgos Moschidis won Best Supporting Actor in the first season, and Antonis Angelopoulos won Best Director in the second season.
To see the writer, the director, the lead actress, and the supporting cast all walking away with trophies across a 2-year span is staggering.
It's total synchronization.
It suggests that Parapente wasn't just enjoying a spite in popularity, it was operating on a completely different level than its competition.
The writing gave the actors the material they needed to win, the directing elevated the writing, and the entire package was undeniably superior in the eyes of the voting body.
But while Sto Parapente claimed a multi-year reign over the comedy landscape, the data highlights an even more concentrated singular dynasty in the drama category shortly after.
Oh yes, the 2007 to 2008 season.
We have to talk about the sheer steamroller that was the drama series to Deka.
Deka represents a totally different kind of dominance. Rather than spreading its wins across consecutive years, it executed a flawless surgical sweep in a single season.
A sweep is almost an understatement. The list is unbelievable. In the 2007 to 2008 season, Deka won Best Drama Series. It won Best Director for Pidgey Dimitrikopoulou. It locked down both lead acting categories, taking Best Actor for Dimitris Katalaifos and Best Actress for Reni Kitaki.
And it didn't stop there.
No, it won Best Supporting Actor for Vasilis Harlampopoulos, and it even took home the award for Best Music, composed by Eleni Karindrou.
Taking the top series prize, the directing prize, 3 out of the 4 acting categories, and the music award in one fell swoop. That is the definition of critical consensus.
There was clearly no debate that year.
None. Deka was the definitive dramatic achievement of 2008.
It paints such a vivid picture of the viewing experience back then. You can imagine the debates among audiences, watching a cultural phenomenon like Sto Parapente defend its title year after year.
Or witnessing a prestige powerhouse like Deka just leave no oxygen in the room for any other drama.
Exactly. But the data also points us toward the recurring masterminds, the architects who built this golden age across multiple projects.
The individual longevity in this data set is remarkable. In an industry defined by rapid turnover and shifting tastes, a few names remain firmly at the top of the mountain.
Let's look at the directing data.
Kostas Koutsamaitis is a name that commands attention here.
Because he didn't just win for one hit show, his wins span the entire timeline of the awards.
Right. He won in the late 90s for Agapi Argaia's Mia Mera.
Okay.
He adapted to the changing landscape and won again in the mid-2000s for Tapaidia Tisniovis.
Wow.
And then he returned to win yet again in the final years of the award's existence for Matama no Hamada.
Winning the highest directorial honor across 3 different decades of television production requires a rare level of adaptability and artistic vision.
It really does. And we see a similar level of foundational dominance in the writing categories.
We do. Focusing on the early years of the drama categories, writer Mirella Papakonomos set the gold standard.
She won Best Original Drama Screenplay in the very first recorded season, 1996 to 1997, for Logotimus.
And she maintained that standard, winning again in 1998 to 1999 for Izoi Pau Denizisa.
These are the pillars of the industry.
And speaking of pillars, the Prasopa Awards didn't solely focus on the new vanguard of television creators. A deeply significant part of this data set involves the crossover between different artistic mediums.
Yeah, this crossover is vital to understanding the cultural weight of the Golden Age.
The awards included special categories honoring individuals with an important, enduring presence in Greek arts.
Right. The data shows that legendary figures from Greek cinema were not simply resting on their laurels, they were actively transitioning into television and elevating the medium.
The source specifically highlights cinema titans like Thanasis Vagos and Alekos Alexandrakis.
And what's amazing is the data shows they weren't just showing up for polite applause in honorary categories.
No, they were actively competing and winning in the standard acting categories against the television regulars.
The inclusion of these cinematic icons validates the entire television landscape of that era. I mean, Thanasis Vagos won Best TV Series Actor in the 2000 to 2001 season for Peri Anaman Kai Adatan.
And he proved it wasn't a fluke, returning in the 2003 to 2004 season to win Best Supporting Actor for Erotas Opos Eremos.
And in that same 2000 to 2001 season, Alekos Alexandrakis won Best Supporting Actor for Name Prosahais.
When the heavyweights of a nation's silver screen are stepping into living rooms and delivering award-winning performances, what does that tell us about the production values of the time?
It tells us the scripts were strong enough to attract them, and the directors were skilled enough to utilize them. It totally blurred the line between cinematic art and television entertainment.
Which brings us to another element that heavily blurs that line, the auditory experience.
Music.
Yes. Television isn't just a visual medium, and the Prasopa Awards clearly treated the Best Music category with the utmost seriousness.
The presence of the Best Music category and the caliber of the composers winning it proves that these productions were operating on a massive scale.
They weren't relying on stock music libraries.
No, they were commissioning original, sweeping soundscapes from industry giants.
Stamatis Chronakis is a prime example of this. The data shows him taking home the Best Music Award across multiple eras.
Let's hear the timeline.
Okay, he won for Astera Earthen Oimalases in the 1999 to 2000 season. He won again for Eptathanasim Bahiras in 2003 to 2004, and he struck gold again for Maria Iashimi in 2006 to 2007.
And he was in formidable company. Maklas Atsagianis also secured multiple wins.
taking the award for Kinemini Amos in 2005 to 2006, and later for Polykatokia in 2008 to 2009.
The fact that the industry could support and consistently reward this level of musical composition speaks to the robust health of the cultural economy during those 13 years.
It was a thriving ecosystem that had room to celebrate not just the broad dramas and comedies, but highly specialized genres as well.
The data mapping of the niche categories is just as fascinating as the primetime sweeps.
Satire, for instance.
Right. Satire requires a completely different skill set than traditional comedy. It has to be sharp, timely, relentlessly observant.
And in this specific era of Greek television, one person seemingly perfected the formula.
Georgos Mitsikostas.
Looking at the best satirical show category, he essentially owned it.
He won 3 times for his program Mitsihasta, claiming the trophy in the 2001 to 2002 season, the 2002 to 2003 season, and coming back to win again in 2004 to 2005.
To maintain that level of critical acclaim in a genre that relies on constantly shifting current events is a masterclass in consistency.
Consistency is also the defining trait we see in the children's programming data.
Producing quality content for younger audiences is incredibly difficult.
It is, yet Christos Demopoulos managed to win Best Children's Show twice for Rainbow, securing the award in 2004 to 2005 and 2007 to 2008.
The data even provides a great historical footnote for that category, with the earliest recorded Best Children's Show award going to Phaedon Sofianos for Disney Club back in 1999 to 2000.
It is remarkable how a Wikipedia article, essentially just a collection of dates, names, and tables, manages to render such a comprehensive, multidimensional portrait of an entire industry.
So what does this all mean?
Well, it means we are looking at the architectural blueprints of a cultural peak. This isn't just a list of trivia to be memorized.
No, it's a map of a very specific, highly vibrant, creative era in Greece. The data gives us the contours of this golden age.
It shows us the heavy-hitting dramas that commanded total critical consensus.
It shows us the dominant comedies that captured the nation's attention for years at a time. It highlights the legendary cinematic actors who brought their gravitas to the small screen.
The visionary directors who adapted across decades.
And the brilliant composers who provided the soundtrack to it all.
This raises an important question, though. And it forces us to return to the stark reality we discussed at the beginning.
The sudden end.
Yes. This incredibly complex, beautiful, and thriving cultural infrastructure vanished. The data tables simply stop.
The macroeconomic forces of the debt crisis hit, the funding evaporated, and this golden age was forced into a sudden, unceremonious conclusion.
It serves as a permanent historical reminder of how deeply our art and our storytelling are tethered to the economic realities of the world.
It is a sobering reminder, but an essential one for understanding the life cycle of media. And I want to leave you, our listener, with a final thought to mull over as you step back into your day. Think about your own country's pop culture landscape. Think about the shows, the streaming hits, and the primetime phenomenons that define the current era of television for you.
What if it all just stopped?
Exactly. If a sudden, unforeseen economic crisis wiped out your country's ability to produce new television tomorrow, what would be the final shows cemented in your culture's time capsule?
Who would be the final actors, the final writers, and the final directors listed before the data stopped?
Which programs would be your Parapente or your Deka? It really makes you appreciate the fragile, incredible art being created right now.
It definitely does.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into the Prasopa Greek Television Awards. We loved opening this time capsule with you, and as always, we encourage you to stay insanely curious.